face to start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares on the best part of my day.
The goods from the woods.
Hot damn!
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
Pat Riley.
This is a good night. Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
And we are so happy to be joined by our guest today from the shining city on the hill.
That's not what you want to call it.
Is that what they call Boston?
No, well, I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
in the 1620s.
Yeah, 1626. Yeah, they were like,
City
you know
on
what?
a hill.
Say your name.
Yeah, we'll just. My name is Jeff May.
Yeah.
Yay!
Rivers, have you been to Boston?
I have never. The farm,
Yeah, so you don't know there's no Puritans there anymore. Just so you know.
Just
Don't go there looking for
degenerates.
pilgrims.
Angry Catholics.
Yeah,
It's mostly
everybody is a Catholic now.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, of course. Wow, they've really lost sight of what's important.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's funny though because I'm considered a Boston comic, but I actually live like an hour. It's like when people from San Bernardino are like, it's L.A.
Well,
It's like,
that's
whatever.
kind of how
Like-
I think that's kind of a message. Everybody's from Boston when they
Yeah.
travel there, but
It's
they're
a
from
small
like
state.
Hingham
when
or something
yeah,
like that.
Whenever someone's like, "Oh, what part?" I'm like, "Worcester." And they're like, "Oh, what part of Worcester?" I'm like, "Charlton." Like, you
Oh,
just,
that's
like,
a little bit western there.
Yeah. Well, it's not like I was going to go an hour east out of Boston because
Yeah.
that would be me drowning.
yeah, that's true. But
They'd be an oil rig or something.
Yeah.
you know, next stop Ireland.
I'm from South Central,
I'm from
Massachusetts.
South Central Massachusetts.
Everyone's like, Jeff grew up on the mean streets of Boston. I'm like, I grew up on a farm. I'm like, no, I did not. I did not grow up on the mean streets of anything.
Oh, so you're from outside of Worcester then?
I'm from
like,
south of Worcester, right
yeah.
on the Connecticut border, yeah.
You're Western Mass guy.
No, I'm a Central Mass guy.
yeah.
That is a big difference.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
What is the difference?
In Western Mass, they don't have to pay tolls on the Mass Pike. Central Mass is Worcester, Massachusetts is the second biggest city in New England. It's like a very sizable city.
in New England.
Yeah, it's bigger than Hartford. It's bigger than Providence.
But that's like
it's bigger
saying
than
the second
Portland.
biggest city in Wyoming.
Oh, I'm sorry. We started the country. Shut up.
Well, it's populous. It's more populous in Wyoming. There's almost nobody in Wyoming. It's a beautiful place, but
I
there's
didn't mean
nobody
it
there.
in a literal sense. I meant it in a trying to.
Well, I mean, no, I mean it gets
Massachusetts.
congested though. It's not like you go there and you're going to be like, wow, nobody lives here. No, it's well populated.
Except where I'm from.
Yeah, except when you get further. Well, the further west you go, this is central.
The more west you like, if you go a little bit west of what, like Worcester is sort of that dividing line of civilization, and then
I think when people think about do they think of Eastern Massachusetts?
most people think it's all just getting into bar fights.
No one can see this, but Pat's eating Tostitos, and it's cracking me up right now.
very gingerly, one at a time, and they're so small.
They've been pulverized.
You got the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, Rivers brought in his street sharks, and they beat the shit out of them before the show.
But when they're this small, it's more of a hint of lime. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
your lime to tortilla quotient is out of control right now.
indeed.
So Jeff was. I mean, let's get to the hard issues right now. Jeff was at Survivor Series 1990.
I was, yeah.
Saw the debut of two WWE legends, Mark Calloway and The Undertaker.
How ridiculous was it to see the Undertaker debut? Were you scared to death?
How old were you?
I was like 9.
Okay.
I had just turned 9. Yeah.
That's a great age because you could still
good age
for The Undertaker.
But
Yeah.
It's a
here's the
great
thing.
age for wrestling in general.
Fuck yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Number one, when you're at one of these events, it's not the TV. I don't see the guy's face. I was like, what is that, Black Bart? They bring Black Bart out?
I wish they did. I like
That's how I described him. I was like, I think they took a guy out that was kind of like Black Bart. Like that's
He was a lot taller than Black Bart, though, and somewhat less rotund.
Yeah, but I was up, so I can't tell.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing
You could
about
just see the brim
like
of the
live
hat.
sporting events. You know, they're cool and like you can get caught up in it, but it's not like you're getting a better view than when you watch it on TV.
Oh, you're getting
like,
Well, that's
much
the
worse.
Fact,
Yeah,
the fact you know, and I think the other thing is it's like the debut of the Undertaker, but nobody knows who he is yet.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I didn't know
Just
what
like,
was
who's
happening.
this jabroni with
Yeah.
brother love?
I can't
Yeah.
see his face. He's wearing a hat. He's got brother love. He's got who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, and it was that was a little bit kind of lame. Like it was just a guy. Like I didn't know.
But
Yeah.
he did
They're
beat
just
the
like,
crap
here's
out of
our-
Coco Beware.
Here's our secret guy, and I'm like, okay, I'm 9. That means nothing to me.
Kane, the Undertaker.
Yeah, and even if you did recognize him, like, oh, it's Mean Mark Callis from the Skyscrapers.
Yeah, which not a thing.
Who was he fighting? though?
Okay, it was Dusty Rhodes, Coco Beware, and if you get Coco Beware on your team, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're cursed.
God, what a gimmick jobber.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what a
and
guy
then-
that's just like, yeah, I'm like, I get my
I got
own
a
wrestling
bird.
trading card. It's like, so does Barry Horowitz. Calm down. Like,
and the Hart Foundation. I just imagine like Dusty Rhodes being like, I got this idea to make the team as strong.
We're going to
as
get a little
possible.
cocoa here, you understand?
We're gonna get.
we gonna get a little bit of diversity.
We're gonna get the anvil. We got the anvil.
We're going to have all the black and all the white. and all
I
the
think
bills.
was Rick Martel on that team.
It's $1 million team. Ted DiBiase, The Undertaker, Rhythm and Blues, Honky Tonk
Honky
Man.
Tonk
and-
Oh, Greg Valentine with the black hair.
That was so good. And whenever he tried to do the honky tonk man Elvis Billy Idol lip thing, he would just kind of go.
Yeah, he would do like he would.
Yeah, he wasn't good
He'd
at
look
that.
like he's having a stroke.
Yeah, he looked like the
exactly
lead
what
singer
he
of Slade.
Well, his face only has limited movement. I don't know if you ever noticed this about Greg Valentine anyway.
I mean, it's made of wood.
Who was the other?
Like a
who
wooden
was
Indian.
The
And
other,
the dream team is Dusty Rhodes, Coco Beware, and Bret Hart, and Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
See, this team is really good on paper nowadays.
Yeah.
But at
And-
the time, a lot of these guys were at the end of their run or something.
Well, and the
Bret
mo-
Hart just was like, oh, that's greasy guy that kind of looks
Yeah,
like Danzig.
Bret Hart had those sort of stop-start solo pushes, like when he had that fight against Bad News Brown a couple of years before. But most of these guys were kind of on their way out. Bret Hart would have a revitalization, but Dusty was about midway through his run, and Coco had already become Jobber to the Stars.
Well, and all the managers for the $1 million team. I mean, this is an all-star lineup here. Jimmy Hart, Brother Love, and Virgil coming
that's
out
good
there.
stuff.
Virgil.
Oh man, Virgil gave me an interesting comic book convention experience. actually.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you meet Lonely Virgil?
Oh yeah, I met Virgil, and he talked a lot. I was there with my girlfriend in Wizard World, Philadelphia, in 200004, and she was like, "I think we should get a picture with him," like out of irony. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, "I don't know, like I don't know how much it cost. It was my first experience." And then he was like, $20. I was like, "That seems steep." I was like, "That seems like a lot. It seems like a lot to take a picture with you."
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. And then he like kind of followed us around a little bit. Like he wouldn't let us leave the table even after we paid him. And then we were like, okay, we're going to go now. And he's like, one more thing. I'm like, no more things.
Maybe he thought you were hiring him as a bodyguard like DiBiase had. And now he works for $20.
I look like somebody that would be in DiBiase need. Like, I don't
Yeah.
need a bodyguard. It would be nice to have a servant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the one more thing? What was he trying to
I
sell
don't
you?
know. Do you really think I remember a conversation with Virgil?
Maybe he was like Columbo.
Although Virgil, see, the thing is that Virgil's trying to do the Iron Sheik thing where he's trying to be like the eccentric. So with that hashtag fuck money,
Yeah.
but he's not any good at it because it seems so contrived.
Where was this convention?
Whereas the Iron Sheik.
You can tell that this guy's
He's an actual
somewhat
crazy
insane.
person?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
'Cause,
thing
like,
is that Virgil's tweeting for himself.
yeah, no, Virgil
And
like
the Iron Sheik definitely is not.
yeah.
well, the Iron Sheik's become almost like a business now. You know,
Yeah.
Eric Sims, the half and half, he kind of pulls the Sheiky's strings.
Eric Sims is managing Virgil now.
Also,
And
he's trying to do the
This is
revitalize
so-
Virgil.
This is so wrestling heavy.
Yeah, I know,
I was
but
not
Virgil-
expecting this.
It does this a
I
lot.
should,
I
I
heard
should
a-
not have mentioned anything about
I heard
wrestling.
I heard an
yesterday.
interview with Virgil. He was trying way too hard to be ridiculous, and he was referring to himself as the Black Oprah that wears pants.
Good line. That's a good line.
Well, he's considerably thinner. You know what they say about Virgil, though?
He has AIDS.
Well, besides that, he can seal his own deal, if you know what I'm talking about.
It's-
You know, it is big. You know what I mean? The big guy. Downstairs, you understand.
Yeah. I ended up by my ex-girlfriend probably has some signed autographed picture of Virgil somewhere in her new house. Someday her kid is gonna find it and be like, what's this? And she's like,
I don't know.
It is literally nothing. Like it is less than nothing.
the other thing, Survivor Series 1990.
Oh, the major thing,
I
really.
mean, the major thing, really. You know,
Well, there's
obviously.
also a side thing, but
what is the side thing before we get to the main event?
well, there's a interview that the Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, and Tito Santana cut.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, when they did
and
the
it's basically
the heroes versus the villains.
yeah, the 5 villains versus the 3 heroes, and it's basically Hulk Hogan and Warrior trying to out-ham each other because they were like competitive because Hogan didn't want to give up his spot, but they're teaming with Tito Santana and Ultimate Warrior, ever the wordsmith, goes,
And you, Rick the Model Martel, no competition to the powers that we possess in Hulkamania and Warrior Wellness and Arrivederci.
and the power of Arrivederci.
Well, see, who says the guy couldn't think on his feet, though?
know.
Because these guys are both associated with
You're like-
mystical powers.
Yeah,
and then it's
just like,
what's
well,
the
we got-
Italian word for goodbye? That's close
and,
enough.
and by the way,
You're off
Tito
by-
Santana is actually Mexican.
Yeah, you're off by only one hemisphere. That's all you're.
Well, it was Arriba Derche. Because remember Tito's thing for a while was Tito Santana Arriba.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was Arriba Derche.
That's how you know he's Mexican, guys.
And then, and as,
it was sort of
and-
like Esperanto when you mix it together.
and they do a zoom in, and the Warrior knows that he had really messed it up with the power of Arrivederci. He didn't have that effect, and he just like trails off as the power of Arrivederci, and he like turns his back and just flexes.
Is it like the time that when Booker T called Hulk Hogan the N-word, and then he goes, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Puts his fucking
Sheriff starts laughing.
Except in this case, Hulk Hogan just makes a ton of like I'm pooping faces. You know?
Does Tito say anything?
No, they don't let him get a word in.
He actually said Arrivederci, so really tied it in.
He drew on a mustache and put on a shelf's hat.
Well,
know,
he
it would've
was
been
from
funny-
that old school of promos where it was when in doubt say brother a bunch of times.
Yeah.
It would have been really great if, because Warrior had such a push, that Tito's new push was going to be saying Arrivederci for the next 3 years. And that was going to be,
You're Italian now.
you're
would've been better
going to
than the
feud with the
Matador.
model Rick Martel. It's going to be an Italian thing.
Yeah.
You're going to be a matador, but an Italian matador.
It couldn't have been any worse.
You're going to be a gondolier.
You're an Italiador.
You're going to be Il Matador.
Il Matadore.
Tito Santini.
WWF Survivor Series 1990 also featured one of the most bizarre gimmicks in wrestling history. Next to the ring for the weeks leading up to the Survivor Series, there was a gigantic egg, and inside that egg was a man-sized turkey known as the gobbledygooker.
Yeah. There he is.
Yeah, so
That was one of the great before-after moments in history.
Are really heating up
They
here
weren't.
at the Survivor Series.
They
And I
weren't.
got to tell you, these great fans here in Hartford, Connecticut are red hot too.
Hartford, Connecticut. How long have they been showing this egg on TV?
They've been promoting it for like over a month.
Wasn't
yeah.
the Undertaker originally supposed to come out of the egg?
Is that true?
That's what was
Ric Flair.
rumored.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but I never believed the Ric Flair thing.
I am, the embryo of mankind. I came
So yeah, I was actually.
from an ovum. And
So-
if you're a lady between the ages of 18 and 35,
Hang on, what-
you can ride the monolith.
But you guys were sitting.
I was
over there?
above, so I was. If you look at where this is, I was above it, so I was like up here. Nobody can see.
What in a world?
So out of this egg comes a man in a turkey costume. If you've never seen this, type
It's
in
Hector Guerrero.
the gobbledygooker.
Makes his first appearance.
It's Hector Guerrero
wait.
under the suit.
Wait,
No, you're looking at me like I know what I don't know what it is.
A beak, a little rooster tail up on top,
And then nobody knows what to do.
got a pair of legs.
And what was it? What did the crowd just?
By the way, he has practiced softballs for eyes.
I think we were all just like, we were like, all right. I mean, we were just like, all right, it's fine.
Wait,
What is with the gobbledy? The gobbledygook. Ha! Don't tell me you're the gobbledygooker.
You've heard of me.
the mythical being.
Gobble?
all you do is
Well, on
gobble.
Thanksgiving, what
See,
would
that's
you expect?
suspiciously rehearsed, and that kind of exposes the business.
You want me to what?
The mythical
Oh, no,
mythical
no.
gobbledygooker
Not in
that
front
hid in
of
the
money.
recesses
Don't
of
tell me you're
Sabaldi
the
house
gobbledygooker.
shoes.
People hit the roof over this stuff, though.
See, I don't really remember. Like, I wasn't aware that much of the fandom to know that. I mean, there was no message boards back then.
Well, again, this is one of those things like you didn't know, much like the Undertaker's debut, you didn't know you were watching the birth of a legend.
yeah.
Well, they made
what's
a big thing
The
out of
literal
it.
birth.
Yeah, what's so great though is that like that's the thing that makes the most sense that came out of the egg. Like honestly, like we're like this is dumb. It's like, well, it's an egg and he's a bird
And he's a giant
So
turkey.
That actually,
You know what? That makes a lot of
that
sense.
does make way more sense
It was
than if
almost
it's like a guy. Like
misdirection.
you see the warlord come out, that wouldn't be right. It's an egg. It's
Well, they had all these hype things with Mean Gene saying like, "Who's going to come out of the egg? The Playboy Playmate of the Year," and all this stuff like that, misdirecting you. And that's a bird comes out of the egg. Oh, okay.
Is it going to be a Mexican in a bird suit?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes, it
Probably it is. Is he going to do some awkward square dancing in the ring?
Oh my God!
for
Me
sure.
and Gene just did the worst cartwheel I've ever seen.
Well, he's not, Bam Bam Bigelow.
What was going through your head at this moment? Or did you-
9-year-old Jeff May.
I was really excited, mostly excited about the souvenirs I got. Like I was so into the stuff I got. I got a really cool Hulk Hogan tank top, and because I was so fat, that thing fit me for like the rest of my life. Like I had a big little pot belly,
Yeah.
and then so I actually wore it. The last fight that I had, I was a boxer. The last fight that I had, I had red headgear, red gloves, and a red crotch guard thing. And then I wore the yellow tank top and I tore it off in the ring.
Oh, I did.
Did it have the slits in the back?
Yeah, it was. And I also got the other item that I got, and this is it's bananas that this was a buyable item. I bought a foam Big Boss Man nightstick.
Oh, I remember
yeah.
those. Yeah.
And my brother got the Hacksaw Jim Duggan 2x4 foam, and I was like, wow, these are not super marketable guys, but these make sense as foam items. Like these,
yeah, of
You could
course.
whack each other with them when you were pretending to wrestle. That was the point.
What are you going to
I
buy? A hand that says Hulk Hogan on it?
Yeah.
I'd love to get one of those Andre the Giant footprint shirts. That would actually be.
Oh, yeah, I remember
were-
those.
I used to get WWF magazine in the
And the
mail.
catalog, it was all ads.
And the catalog was
And it was
so
just it was
cool.
just photos of Shane and Stephanie McMahon as kids wearing.
That was the
like,
thing. Stephanie
Oh my God,
McMahon.
I didn't
shirts.
realize that.
Stephanie
yeah.
McMahon was the girl wearing the huge Andre the Giant shirt.
So that was a really cool experience, and we got there. We sort of got to blackmail my dad to take us there because there was like a cool event in like Boston that we wanted to go to. It was just like a house show or something. And we
Yeah.
asked to go, and he's like, "No, we can't now." And my dad like tried hard. My dad was in
Right.
his 20s. I mean, he had just turned 30 for this Survivor Series, and I think about it now. I'm 34. Like I can't imagine how much saving he probably had to do.
Yeah. Oh, how
to do this.
many brothers?
I have me and my
sisters?
brother.
Oh, it was just the two of you.
me and my brother and my dad.
Okay.
But he
Still.
wrote a contract for us saying because it must have been too far out,
Yeah.
So he's just like, if they come to Worcester, Providence, or Hartford, I will take you. And then like literally a week later, they announced Survivor Series in Hartford. And we were like, we held up the contract and we were like, you wrote this. You're the one that wrote it. And
You
he was
cashed
just
in.
like,
You cashed in the money in the bank.
oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, for sure. Like you don't blow a chance to see the Survivor Series back when the Survivor Series mattered.
yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
It was cool back then.
Was
Like,
it on Thanksgiving or was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny too because the Survivor Series, I remember that being my second favorite thing to watch behind the Rumble. I always loved the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And then the Survivor Series, and then as it went on, they just kind of got rid of the Survivor matches.
Yeah.
They like stopped being a thing, and I think they do like retro style matches one a year now.
Well, they have the Survivor Series still, but this year they literally did not announce who was in the Survivor Series match until it started. They were like, "Oh, here it is," and it was just a bunch of nothing.
Back in the day,
Scrubtastic
the
scrubs.
event like that was the big event. Now they use like these events to to move the storyline. So usually back then there might only be one or two storyline things that happened, and
Yeah.
the rest of it was just getting to see all the big stars in this crazy style of
Demolition
match.
fight Legion of Doom
Yeah.
with like, I mean, that's like, but like with other people, and you could see like you're not going to see Mr. Perfect fight Smash
Yeah,
all the time. Like that's not a thing you regularly see.
They had a lot of stars, and you got to
Yeah.
see them all at once. On
yeah,
that
like
night.
the mixing, but like the mixing of teams is kind of cool. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
And
like,
there was a captain for each team.
Yeah. It's
So there
like-
was internal politics. They all had a name that was related to it.
Yeah.
The dream team for.
It got to be too complicated because remember, eventually they had co-captains.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, but I don't find that to be too complicated. When
Well, you
you're-
had to remember
when you're
who-
only dealing with 4 people.
Well, who was on the team? The team's name, the captain, and the co-captain. It was only 4 people.
I didn't really
Why do you
have
need
to.
a co-captain?
I didn't have to remember any of that. I would just watch it. Like I wasn't that.
Oh, you didn't have any Survivor Series push pools or anything like
You're not a
that?
stats guy.
I wasn't sitting there with my scorebook, like like one of those weird nerds.
They
at a baseball game.
they had one. Watch yourself.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
I keep the.
Yeah,
you
that's
do that?
old school.
Yeah.
That's old school.
So you don't. The thing is that it keeps you from buying food. That's the thing. It gives you something to do, so you don't sit there and be like, "Man, I could use a beer. Man, I could use some nachos." It's like
Well, that was one of the original concessions.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
say you can't tell who the players are without a scorecard.
Yeah,
Right.
no, that's cool. I just rather eat food and watch the game. I like garbage food, and there's no better place than a live sporting event to eat.
Yeah, I know. I love garbage food too, but it's a thing where it's like, do I want to spend $25 on garbage food?
Yes.
Or just go?
Yes, you
I
do.
just like to drink and get high at the
Yeah.
sports.
No, we
games.
mean at events, not just regular.
Well, I
ones.
do that at events too. It's part of the fun.
Like my favorite.
But it's usually
thing-
at the racetrack.
I was at King of. What was the one I was at? Hell in the Cell. I was high at that a few months ago.
For Lesnar and
Yeah, it was a great time. It was like being in like some kind of Dantean arena in hell or something.
I went to a hockey game. It was like Ducks Bruins maybe or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like sitting there watching the game, and I'm just like, oh, I just spent $21 on sausages. Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with it. I like watching professional athletes at their physical peak perform while I gain 2 pounds. Like that's a thing I love to do.
for more information on the gobbledygooker, consult your local library.
I went to a lot of like slamborees and like stuff like that.
I just rewatched Slamboree 98.
I brought my Alex Wright 316 sign.
Das Wunderkind.
I was
Wow.
a huge Alex Wright fan.
When he was
Doing the dancing with the leather jacket.
Well, my
like that was-
favorite. I've just been rewatching all of the because they just put all the nitros up on WWE Network, so you can watch all that shit. And I've just been watching, and Alex Wright, as right now where I'm at, which is approximately June '98. His only gimmick seems to be he comes out and tries to dance with the Nitro Girls.
Yeah, that was
and
so good.
security takes him away. And then
I love that.
It's happened every episode for the past like 6 weeks.
And he
now.
wears the most amazing stuff ever. It's just like tight jeans and like one of those shirts with the zipper on it, like
Yeah.
the tight red, like short sleeves with the zipper.
Yeah, it's like
the
almost
best
like
set
a
of buttons.
velveteen almost.
Yeah.
when Alex Wright really hits is leather jacket and like little Speedo.
Yeah, the trunks.
And that
with
is
the weird like compass logo on the back.
Oh, did it? I didn't even
Yeah,
notice
like a
that.
weird compass logo on
But
the
I
back.
was
Yeah.
I loved when he would do that like that
Yeah.
dance. I loved that so much. I thought it was I thought it was I put up I had a big sign Alex Wright 316 and someone was like yelling at me and I said I will not have you yell at me.
It was
I'm holding up this sign.
It was basically WCW's answer to the Sprockets sketch
Yeah.
on SNL. Now is the time on WCW where we dance.
I'd be like talking so much shit to people near me. I'm like, he's gonna win. Watch Goldberg go down. Like he ain't
Jerry
got
Flynn's
nothing.
gonna kill him.
It is end of the streak right here.
Yeah.
Suplex machine coming through.
This streak ends at Disco Inferno.
Didn't he become Berlin?
They call him Roadblock.
He
for a
was
reason.
Either he became Berlin or started as Berlin.
No,
and
he became Berlin.
yeah.
So here's the Alex Wright chronology. if
Born
you
in
will.
Germany in 1970. No.
Starts at 18. He's the youngest WCW Rookie of the Year. Does the dance, but it's like a minor
He was a
aspect.
cruiserweight champion
It just
for a
makes sure.
while.
It's just to show off that he, he likes to party. He's fun loving.
he's got
But Germans
got
aren't-
flash, but he's a
Yeah,
professional.
yeah.
He was Das Wunderkind.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
and
just
then-
to illustrate that Germans aren't completely dead on the
yeah,
inside.
he's a
Yeah, I mean, they had Beethoven and
They
Goethe
like
and that
embodied
crap.
sportsmanship.
No, it's great. They
Would
like to
always go
go-
for the handshake.
They like to disco dance and they like to dance with the ladies. It's really like a good time. They maybe, bring out the penis every once in a while. It's not like a crazy time. It's just a time to, sometimes you suplex life and sometimes the life suplexes you. It's okay. It's just a great time, you know. We all have a good time. I say, you know, you think I dress funny coming out since it has a jacket and the trunks, but that was how I go out when I go to the discotheque anyway. So it's really,
I go to the disco in knee pads.
yeah, it's really one of those situations where you bring real life into your art. You know, it's really what it's like, and it's cool. And sometimes, you know, you ejaculate in the ring, and sometimes you don't. It's fine. It's all about the journey. It's not necessarily about the destination.
It's usually better when you do ejaculate in the ring.
I'm going to finish off in the squared circle. This is where I was conceived. This is where I'll die. Because eventually I got a horrible brain tumor.
Oh, God, is that true?
No.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he had brain cancer.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
That's why he's like, I think he's bald now. I think I don't know if that's like a thing now. He just lost his hair, but I know he got brain cancer.
Oh, Jesus.
But no, there's
He
a
lived
journey
high on the
before
hog
that.
for a while.
Yeah.
because then he became the ladies' choice. He would roll with Renegade. He would roll with Desperado Joe Gomez. He'd run with Jim Powers. He'd walk down the beach, enticing the young ladies. And then people weren't into his act. So he became evil dancing Alex Wright.
And that is the Alex Wright I
that
love.
Yeah.
That's about where I'm at.
That is
Trying
the
to
greatest
upstage the Nitro girls. Then he gets with Disco Inferno.
Yeah, everything else was Alex wrong.
Yeah, Alex wrong. I love the part where Alex Wright and Disco Inferno were a tag team.
And they
had
danced all the time.
Yeah, and then Tokyo Magnum tried to join in. They had this like Japanese luchador whose like gimmick was that he was a male stripper, and he would try and dance with them because he would do like their dances. So like one time, the two, like Alex Wright and Disco Inferno, were dancing in the ring, and then Tokyo Magnum sneaks up, starts doing the Alex Wright dance, starts doing the Disco Inferno dance, rips his pants off, starts gyrating. They both look at him, start kicking his ass.
Yeah. You know what?
They wouldn't
You don't
stand
bring
for
that.
they don't stand for gimmick
What I love
infringement.
about WCW around that time is they were like, you know what? 3 dancers. That's what we're gonna have. We're gonna have 3 dancers in the stable.
Oh, they probably didn't even like. It was probably just some thing.
3 disco themed. And by the way, this was during Harlem Heat breakdancing time too. So kind of 4 dancers.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, international in flavor. You got Brooklyn guy, you got Germany,
Right.
and you got the Far East.
My favorite
they're
thing-
not associated
and
with
the
each
thing
other.
is this
So-
thing probably emerged. They didn't even book it. It just emerged out of
Yeah.
nowhere because everything in WCW was such a mess.
It's probably Alex Wright and Disco Inferno were like banging backstage. And they were like, all right, you're a tag team now. You guys seem to get along. This is fine. You know what I love
this
is,
Tokyo Magnum guy is very
Oh.
interesting.
you know, he calls himself Tokyo Magnum, but more like Tokyo extra small. You know what I mean? My favorite
Tokyo
thing-
Derringer.
My favorite thing to do was for the Nintendo 64, there was WCW versus the NWO.
Which one? World Tour or Revenge? Yes.
Because you could steal the other guy's taunts. Like you could steal. And so my favorite thing to do would take like Sting or Goldberg
Yeah, and do the Alex
and have them do the Alex Wright dance. It was my favorite thing ever. Because it would just, you'd see this like really terrifying human just start like kind of like flailing around, being all
giant,
sexy.
the giant.
Oh yeah.
the Yeti, Reese.
There were, the thing that was amazing about one of those like WCW games is you would click on the individual player that you could choose on, and they would have these awful like 15-second interviews.
A thirst for high impact.
What was
that?
that?
Was what? It was Brian Pillman would say that.
The funniest one was Alex Wright's because he would just be like,
Hey man, here's Alex Wright, the German. If you want to know what the Germans are about, pick me and you're gonna have a hell of a victory. I promise.
I will bring you victory. I promise. You know?
That sounds like a pretty solid promise.
And you know somebody, well, I don't know if pretty much sidelined at this point, but active roster, Damian Sandow.
Yeah. He and I backyard wrestled together back in high school. I haven't seen him in 10 years.
Is he also from? He's from the same.
He's
area?
from Worcester, Massachusetts.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Shit.
I didn't know that. I thought he was from Ohio.
He was at the Gobbledygooker event, so
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know him for another 5 years after that, 5 or 6 years. But yeah, we backyard wrestled at this dude's place. The guy put a ring up in his backyard.
an actual ring, not a bunch of mattresses.
No, it was a ring, like real ring posts, and then mattresses. But like real, like cemented into the ground ring posts.
What was your gimmick?
We had a group called the Jew World Order. instead of the New World Order, and we all just were like Jewish themed characters, and I was the Macho Man. Come on, it's pretty good.
Did you just like break bread on people's
My
heads?
move was the matzo ball. And I would
So
like
I imagine-
I would kind of like it was almost like a torture rack, like the Lex Luger's torture rack.
Yeah.
But it was around my back, and I would like do a little spin and then fall backwards on the character.
Okay.
So it was like a fireman's carry to a little like full.
It's an
suplex
innovative
kind of thing.
move.
It was a good move. It was not bad.
Was Sandow in the JWO?
No, he was not. He was his character was the graduate, who was like the genius who became the character.
Really?
The intellectual savior of WWE.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I
that
thought he was going to be Dustin Hoffman
No,
or something.
he did a thing towards. He did a.
I love that. Yeah, he kept his gimmick kind of going into WWE.
When he did the gimmick in the WWE, he actually contacted Lanny Poffo and asked him if he could do this homage.
Right,
Like
right.
he got the
okay from
the
him.
thumbs up from him.
I like to think that Poffo answered in rhyme.
Yeah, right. With a scroll, and then he beat him with it.
I had a friend that had just a website. And he would interview wrestlers and things, and he used to interview Lanny Poffo sometimes. And Lanny Poffo has memorized the entire Grinch That Stole Christmas. And he had a thing where
This is Macho Man's brother, by the way.
he's
for
like,
those
he's
that
like
don't
my
know.
brother played baseball.
Yeah. Lanny Poffo is brother to Randy Poffo. AKA
he recited
the
the
Macho Man.
whole damn thing, and he even sang the "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch" song in the middle of it. But the Dr. Seuss people made him take it down off of YouTube.
And it's funny.
Oh man!
And it's funny because if you look at Macho Man Randy Savage, everybody knows Macho Man.
Yeah.
His brother
You
Lanny,
mean Bonesaw?
the exact opposite. Like they are two diametrically opposed. You can't get more diametrically opposed and be from the
to
same
be
gene
fair,
pool.
they are both wrestlers, so that's a pretty big thing they have in common.
Well, their dad was a wrestler too.
They used to all come out as a unit together when they were in Memphis, and they would have 6033, who was the daddy, Angelo Poffo, behind him, and he would wear the jacket that said 6033 because that was like a sit-up record that he set. And he was an old guy, and he had this like Dracula type voice because he had a little bit of what I guess was some kind of European accent. So he'd be
Are they
like,
like
"That's
Romanian
right,
or
the
something?
Macho
Sicilian, yeah.
Man."
And then Lanny Poffo would come out in like conquistador armor.
Yeah, he would wear armor, and
Yeah.
he'd talk about, like, we're not like the Rock and Roll Express. We stand for goodness and purity. And then Randy Savage would start hitting himself on the head with a chair and say, we're some sexy beasts here. But Macho Man had all his old, like, he felt like a star even then. He had pretty much the same thing he had in the WWF going on, except he didn't have Elizabeth with him yet. And he was with these guys instead. But he felt like a superstar.
we stand for
even then.
virtue and we stand for purity.
Sexy beasts here. Yeah.
There's a hilarious video. One of those
Cough for 5
I was
minutes.
going to say, you can't do the Macho Man voice without hacking up a lung.
with the
I can't talk without it.
They have a Memphis music video where it's them to TNT, the whole Poffo
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's Macho Man being insane, Angelo Poffo wearing the jacket, and it's just Lanny Poffo putting on his like armor, his suit of armor, and it's like this is so absurd.
I have to
like
say,
that.
I have every episode of Memphis in '84, and I prefer the variation with the Jackson and Mick Jagger State of Shock, which has most the same stuff in it, but it also has them coming out of the pool in Speedos. And all. Because it's Memphis wrestling.
That's fair.
Old 55-year-old Angelo Poffo coming down in his speedo.
Well, he doesn't do it in that one, but
okay.
but the two sons do.
I just because there's nothing more hilarious than a 55-year-old man or a 60-year-old man in a speedo with like just the bow legs.
Is that hilarious or is it super sad? Like you pick one. Every time I see like, oh, they're making Ric Flair do a thing again. Oh, this is not okay.
Yeah.
It's funny though because when I saw Aaron, Damien, when I saw him, I was working.
What's his real name?
Idol.
Oh, it's Aaron Haddad.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Not marketable name. So
Yeah.
and then but so
He didn't want to go as Big Dad?
Yeah, it was Aaron Stevens and then Idol Stevens and then a bunch of crap. I don't know.
Okay.
But so I hadn't seen him for a while because he was out, doing like territorial stuff and building up. And I was working for when I was teaching, and I actually worked at a Toys R Us for the Christmas season just because I wanted access to toys or whatever. What I wanted to do kind of was to get whatever the hot toy was going to be and just sell the shit out of him. But he happened to be there, and I looked at him and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, you got huge." And he looks at me, he sees me, and he's like, "Hey," and like across. Like I was in the R zone, the video game. He was like outside of it, but he sees me, he points like, "Hey, Jeff May, Jew World Order, huh? Yeah. And I was like, hey,
Hey, hey, can you not yell Jew World Order?
Well,
at
I
the Toys
assume
R
it
Us?
is for life, so you do have to represent.
That's true.
And we were just too cheap because we were anti-Semitic. That's the best way to put it. At that point in time, we had the gimmicks, didn't start out anti-Semitic, and then people were like, you know what you should do instead of too sweet? And we were like, go on.
Hey, it's the only wrestling stable that's matrilineal. So
Yeah, right. It was great. We were very progressive. We were.
Did anybody have like the shawl and like the ringlets and all that shit? Did anybody go full
we
on?
did instead of the Wolfpack sign, we did like the side curls to the side of your heads.
oh my god.
Yeah, well, it was a gimmick, man. That was back. You could
they've
still
done that
have,
before.
You
Yeah.
could still have a gimmick, and that was the thing. We needed to come up with a gimmick.
Again, that was Barry Horowitz's gimmick.
Yeah, and
after he won.
they used to do
Yeah.
one Izzy Slapowitz, and he would wear he'd have the whole thing, look like a rabbi from the Middle Ages or something.
Yeah. Well, no, they had after he won, he started wearing like kind of like black slacks and like a pocket protector and being like ultra witsy essentially.
So wrestling was fun.
You were a boxer as well, right?
I was a boxer.
What weight class?
I was light heavyweight, and then by the time the last 2 fights that I did were charity fights, so they don't really weight class you. They just like, are you within 5 pounds of the other guy? Okay, you're fine.
Light heavyweight's what, 178?
No, up to 199.
Oh, okay. Because I thought cruiserweight was
Amateurs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's a very, very big difference because when I weighed myself for the Golden Gloves, I was 197, and the guy's like, if you win, you cannot gain 2 pounds. Like that's not a thing you can do, or else you're going to have to fight like a 245 pounder. And I was like, it's probably a thing I don't want to do. So
Keep eating lettuce.
so I did that. I was a boxer. I lost a lot of weight in a very short time.
Did you do the classic cutting weight thing, like wearing the rain jacket and jogging in place?
Only for my
hot
last
shower?
fight I did because I had to make weight, so I wore like 3 sweatsuits and I just ran back and forth and I didn't eat or drink anything for like 3 or 4 hours straight of just like running back and forth. And,
Yeah,
and
Jesus.
then it was like unnecessary.
Yeah,
They were
drinking-
like, "Oh, you're fine." And I was just
drinking
like,
citrate solution so you could just lose all your water
Oh my
weight
God.
and waste weight.
you know, when you go for a fight, the best thing to drink is pickle or olive juice.
Yeah.
That's like it's like hyper Gatorade.
Yeah,
'Cause
well, it's all
holds
salt,
on. Yeah,
right?
so it holds on to every ounce of water that you have in your body.
Yeah.
My last fight, I got my ass beat so bad. It was so funny.
Who was it again? Was that
It
the
was
one where
this
you
kid.
did you tear the Hulk Hogan shirt? You did the whole
Yeah, I
whole
did. I did
thing?
this whole thing. I did this whole thing. It was
JOB,
great.
not Hogan style.
And I was like holding the dude out. Like I was faster. I had fast hands and I had a reach. And I'm holding him out. And then I missed a shot and he just hit me in the throat. Like he just got me right in the throat. And then just bashed my brains in. Right
So you never got to do the post-match pose down.
No, I was like,
You're more of an Axelmania than the Hulkamania.
yeah, I had actually, because when I missed the fight, I got like this like bruise under my chest, like a subdermal musculoskeletal contusion.
Gee, that sounds fucked
which
up.
made it feel like I
Contusions
was
are
having a
always
heart
bad.
attack for a week. Like I knew I wasn't having a heart attack, but I was like, ah, shit. And, like I ended
feel
up
like I'm dying.
yeah, it was really bad. But so when I did that, like it hurt so bad that I instinctively lifted my chin up, which you're never supposed to do. You're supposed to keep your chin down. And he was throwing a hook, so what would have hit me in the jaw ended up hitting me right in the throat.
Which is worse.
Yeah, and I'd lost fights, but I'd never been knocked down before.
Yeah.
So I was like too stupid to take a knee.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I can still keep going. And I was like, oh wait, I can't breathe.
The old
Yeah.
Fitzsimmons throat punch.
Yeah, it just and then this dude bashed my brains in, and the worst
Was
thing,
it a 3-round?
Yeah, it was a
Junior
3-round fight,
Olympic?
but it was
Yeah.
it was a charity fight for the Worcester Police Department. They do fighting, supporting the bad guys.
Was it like Police Athletic League put it on? Or
Yeah,
something?
when it was the gang unit was doing it to sort of raise money for the boys' club to prevent gangs.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
so like it was good. It was a nice.
I was wondering if the police would bring in ringers from the jail.
yeah, right.
No, the
right.
police. I mean, Massachusetts is like run by the police, so that everything is like charity police. They have like police versus priests ball games.
it's always
I
it's like
thought you were about to say boxing matches, and that would be amazing.
I'd like to see that.
I've met
state
some
cops versus local cops.
Hold
man.
still, Padre. Hold still, Padre.
I've met some tough as nail priests before. Like,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
That guy
you
on
meet an-
MASH used to box.
If you meet an Irish priest, chances are he fought a lot when he was a young and a teenager. Like that's the thing. Like it blows my mind now that I live in LA, just how offended people get at the concept of physical violence. I've heard people. I heard this. I was on another podcast and somebody was telling a story about how they were like their ID was stolen, their identity was stolen. So it was like, so this guy like took all my pictures and was using my name on Plenty of Fish, and my wife's friends were like, dude, your husband is cheating on you.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's like, I almost got a divorce, and it was this crazy thing. I didn't know what was going on. And then we eventually found out that it was this friend of mine that was doing it. And I was like, so you beat the shit out of him, right? And he's like, no. No, what's wrong with you? No, I just told him to never talk to me again. I'm like, well, he didn't learn a lesson. That's what happened.
No,
He
that's
didn't
not
learn
shit.
He did not learn his. He's like, oh, I lost a friend that I was screwing over anyway. I'm like, no, you should get the shit kicked out of you. And then you're like, if I do that again, another person could kick the shit out of me. Like that to me is, I see like that's a consequence of your action.
It's a lesson.
It's a punitive
very
reaction.
least,
Like fighting is a punitive reaction where I'm from. Like it's not, and it's also like a nothing personal kind of a thing. Like people get in fights. If you've ever been to a Boston bar at 1:45 in the morning, people will fight and then they will buy the other guy a beer. Like it's just a thing.
Or you hire your friends to beat up the person. So you can have that plausible deniability and just be like, no.
You don't have to. Yeah, I've never got into bar fights or anything like that. But I always was the guy that would calm people
Well,
down.
you were a bouncer.
I was when I was 19. Yeah, I was a baby.
Where were you bouncing?
At Shabooms in Worcester, Massachusetts. Shabooms.
Did you ever have to kick out Peter McNeely from the bar?
Oh God, no! He was in Mansfield. He was from a much shittier spot. Like,
Really? Because whenever he was talking crap to Tyson, he'd always bring up that he was from Worcester, Mass.
I remember the rhyme. It was, I'm Peter McNeely from Mansfield, Mass. It was Mansfield.
I thought it was, I'm Peter McNeely from Worcester, Mass. On Saturday night, I'm going to kick Mike Tyson's ass.
Yeah.
Well,
Which-
mass rhymes with ass, so that might have had as much to do
And then he
with
said
it.
something about putting him in a buffoon cocoon.
Yeah. How did he not make it? How did he?
God, boxing rhymes have really gone downhill since Muhammad Ali.
Well,
Yeah.
mind you,
Well,
this
You
isn't
get one Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
You get one.
You set the bar that high. It's like, what else can you do?
But this is Peter McNeely. This guy was like a pizza delivery guy that beat a bunch of tomato cans that were bigger tomato cans than him.
You know, Massachusetts fighter I always liked was Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Oh, Hagler's my
Hagler's
dad's
great,
my dad's second favorite.
He was from
boxer.
what, like Fall River or something, somewheres?
Yeah, I think so. I think like that area that sort of, there was a lot of stuff that came out of sort of the greater Boston.
Oh, and what's his name was from Brockton. Rocky Marciano.
Marciano.
Yeah, the Brockton Bomber, and then
Yeah.
you got Mickey Ward from Lowell, and you got
Is that the fighter?
Yes.
guy?
Yeah.
Jose Rivera from Worcester, Massachusetts, 3-time WBA middleweight champion.
Not Jose Luis Rivera.
Then you got Edwin Rodriguez, who was previously undefeated before Andre Ward destroyed him on HBO a couple years ago. But Edwin Rodriguez is phenomenal. He was phenomenal. I've sparred with him before. I hit him as hard as I could, and I hit very hard. And he just leaned in and said, "Good." I outweighed him by 50 pounds.
Wow.
And I hit him so hard with my right, which is devastating.
Yeah.
And he's just like, all right, good. And I was like, oh, this is not going to be a good 3 minutes.
How did you get into boxing?
When I transferred schools, so I was. Well, I'll explain it. I went to college in Maine, and then I was dating a girl.
Oh, I thought you meant high schools. Like you went to a new high school. It's like, well, and then I just started kicking everyone's ass.
No.
Or I was getting my ass kicked.
like I was very baby Huey in high school. I was very like tall, big, fat, like whatever.
Yeah.
So what I did was when I transferred to a Westfield State College in Western Massachusetts because my girlfriend at the time was going to school in Utica, New York, and I was like, I'll be 2 hours away instead of 8. And then she like broke up with me by October. So I was like, oh shit. There was a boxing club, so I joined because I always wanted to try it. And then I was like, oh well, I have nothing to do now.
Yeah.
I was like, I just go to school and then I'll just do this. And so my old coach worked with Ali when he did Lewiston, Maine, when he fought in Lewiston, Maine.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do everything you tell me to do. Like I did everything.
Yeah.
And he was this old Mickey-ish guy and 84 years old showing me how to jump rope. And I'm like, okay, you're cool. And I just ended up like just melting weight off. Like I lost 60 pounds from October to January.
Just jumping rope and shit?
Just fighting. Just yeah. Just going, like actually just
training.
I guess I'll start. I bought a Walkman. I bought a Walkman and listened to tapes because
what were the jams?
I think I was listening to like Static X at the time. it was really. Oh, you know what? Prodigy, Fat of the Land. That was
okay.
That was well. He also had a rule. He's like disco or techno when you train. Those are your options.
Disco.
Well, Rocky soundtrack.
Yeah, the Rocky soundtrack is a disco album.
84-year-old man, working out to Donna Summer.
Well, because he said you have to have dance music.
Yeah,
he said,
because
it
he said
keeps
no
you
metal,
moving.
no rap. He said you have to have dance because it's a dance beat is the same as a boxing beat.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting like
100 BPMs?
Yeah, it was. I got really heavy into like the Chemical Brothers and Crystal Method and Daft Punk because I had to. Yeah, industrial.
Isn't that what that's
I was really into Typo Negative.
Isn't that what like all that shit is considered? Or
yeah,
no?
I don't even know. I'm not.
Static X, I don't know. Yeah, Prodigy.
I don't know, but Static X was just because I liked
Static
it at
X
the
is
time.
butt rock. Dude.
Yeah.
Butt rock.
Butt rock.
I would run. I think I ran to like the Push It single a couple times.
That was good shit. Oh, wait a minute. That's not Salt and Pepper.
Oh, I was thinking Salt and Pepper.
No, Static X.
That doesn't keep a good beat with the
Yeah,
speed
that's
bag.
not. No,
That'd be a really jerky boxer.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the Rocket movies?
Creed was so good.
Yeah,
Oh
it was.
my God, was that so good?
I have to admit, I preferred the one they made 10 years ago, whatever, Rocky Balboa.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, well, spoiler alert, though, if this is, but it was mainly because it had Burt Young in it, though. Because Paulie, and I love that guy. And he's one of those 70s character actors that you just don't see much anymore, so it was great to still see him in a film.
Paulie had an interesting sort of like development in the Rocky franchise because he went from being the mildly abusive
Older brother.
older brother who was always in debt, to the wannabe business manager, to super racist, to
to robot fucker.
to a guy that has sex
With
implied with a
robots.
robot.
You know
What?
Yeah.
Well, no, remember they get this
Rocky
robot
IV.
in Rocky IV.
Oh, yeah.
That was back in the 80s when you were like, fuckable robots. Let's go with it.
Well, I mean, remember that show Riptide? They had a robot on that.
I
So
don't.
I figured
I do not know what that show is.
It came on after the A-Team.
See, I have seen Rocky. I have seen Rocky 3 and 4 and none of the other ones.
You haven't seen Creed?
Not yet.
You have to.
You have to.
But
It's
I-
really
so good.
Yeah.
The fact that
Michael B. Jordan got jobbed.
Michael B. Jordan got screwed, and then the
like
writers,
him.
the script writers,
Yeah,
whoever
yeah.
wrote that script. I know who wrote that script. It's
Well, I mean,
Aaron
the
Cummings.
You know who I liked in it was the English boxer.
Oh, he was good.
My
yeah.
favorite part
You're
was when
false Creed.
punches him in the mouth and the guy just smiles, and that was badass.
That's good. Yeah, the difference between amateur fighting and pro fighting is so different that when I see it, there's another comic, Rob Vertrees, who was a professional. He was a professional boxer, and everyone always wants to be like, I'd love to see Jeff May fight Rob Vertrees. I'm like, he would destroy me.
Yeah,
it's not even
different.
It's so much different. It's not even. It's not. He got paid to do that. I did not have a way to do that.
Yeah, because amateur boxing is more predicated on points. Knockouts are very rare.
Yeah.
There's only 3 rounds generally in Junior Olympic, and I believe in Olympic it's 5, right?
Yes.
So the amount of time is much shorter.
And then when you get to pro, you jump to 12 to 15 rounds.
Yeah, that's
and you
a
get 12, and the
nightmare.
men you're fighting are the greatest.
Yeah,
of
they're at the top
Like
of their
when you were
class.
doing like the amateur stuff earlier, you were just running people over who were like giving it a try, working their way up. When you go pro, it's like these are the people that already destroyed all those other people as well. So you're fighting the cream of the crop, and it's insane. Like it's crazy. Just that level. Like I don't even know if I still have it anymore, but like a pro level straight right. Like my straight right was destructive. But if I hit somebody amateur wise with the straight right, which for some reason I didn't throw it a lot, but it would like really knock them for a loop. With a professional, I've done it, and it was just they're like, okay, well that was the point.
Yeah.
Like it's so much different, and it
they've-
like wears you down because you're just like, oh, that was my best.
And
Yeah.
and
They've got that punching machine down at the Family Arcade down the street. We can go figure it out.
If
I think he could break the damn
That's
thing.
what I'm saying.
in amateur, is the scoring system based on a 10-9 like in pro boxing?
Generally,
because I didn't know if it was based upon a much more precise.
I mean, I don't know.
scoring system.
I was just a fighter. And
How do you get started in boxing? I know, do you go to a gym and start to train, and then it's like comedy or something? Somebody's putting some fights together for something.
Yeah, I mean, you once you get a trainer, if your trainer is into you, they'll be like, "Oh, I really think we could do this." Like I never had any desire to go pro. It was never a thing I wanted to do because I did not want to be retarded at 50. Like it was like a legitimate thing where I was like, I'm here, I'm in college. Like I'm not interested in. I'm not fighting out of the slums. To survive.
Like Apollo Creed said, be a thinker, not a stinker.
Yeah, like I'm not. It's like I think the smartest boxer is Floyd Mayweather because I saw an interview with him. Which, by the way, I don't like him. I don't like him one iota. I hate the guy.
Yeah.
But he goes, I didn't enter this job so you could be excited at me destroying my brain.
Yeah.
He's like, I got into this job to make money because that's what you do with a job. And look at me now. Like, and it's true. Like, look at him at what 43.
I don't even think he's that old, is he?
I think he's in his 40s.
Okay.
And like when you look at Ali at the same time, and it was just brutal.
That rope-a-dope destroyed him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
take enough beatings in the heavy.
Yeah, I mean, Sugar Ray Robinson fought for a really long time. You know, Julio Cesar Chavez fought for a really long time.
Well, yeah, and Ali fought past his time, too. Those embarrassing fights in the 80s and things.
Well, he's 38.
He's 38. Okay,
I mean, there's a few heavyweights that were able to go for long distance, like Archie Moore, even though Archie Moore fought
Lennox
cruiserweight.
Lewis. Lennox Lewis, I think, is the best example of that.
Well, Archie Moore had like 110 fights, but
I meant
he would.
What
fight.
I was thinking was kept their brain intact.
Oh yeah. Lennox Lewis most definitely.
Lennox Lewis, because Lennox Lewis was smart enough,
And the
to get
Klitschko's
out.
too. You know.
Yeah, but that's because the Klitschko's have been fed.
Yeah, they've been fighting.
fed fish.
Total ham
and
eggers.
they refused to fight each other. Like that was. They wouldn't. That's why the heavyweight boxing was so has been in a rut, is because they refused to unify the title.
Well, actually, Jersey Joe Walcott held his stuff together pretty well because my granddad was friends with Jersey Joe Walcott.
Oh, there you go.
From and my Jersey Joe taught my dad had a box in like the basement of their house and stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned. I always wanted to box, and then when I went to Westfield State and saw they had a boxing club, I'm like, oh, I'm going to sign up.
Yeah,
and it was just, I was like, well, this is really exciting. Like, I would come home and like for the first week, we just did bare fist like blocking and stuff, and I had bruises on my hands, and I loved it. Like I found it, like I was just like this. It's this very raw sense of like, oh, I get Fight Club now. Like it's just one of the like I get it now. It all makes sense. I've been playing too much Nintendo, and then so. Basically, whenever I see myself sort of like getting out of shape, or at least back when I was teaching, I would just sign up for one of these fights and then be like, well, if I don't get in shape, I'm going to look like an asshole.
Yeah.
What I was going to ask is that you brought up Marvin Hagler and
from Punky Brewster. Marvin Hagler of Punky Brewster fame.
and Marvin Hagler versus Tommy Hearns is my favorite boxing match of all time.
Okay.
What's yours?
I think one that really I think one of the most significant ones that I've seen would probably be Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson.
I remember seeing that as a kid myself.
Probably because that it went from invincible to invincible.
Yeah,
it became this guy who could not recover from this, and I understand that he was so unprepared for the fight and he was out partying the night before and everything like that. But he also it was not as well versed against reach. Mm-hmm. Like he's an inside fighter, and if you had a tall, strong guy that could keep it straight, it made it a lot different. But I love the Rumble in the Jungle. Mm-hmm. It's hard not to. It's when you see a giant get taken down.
Yeah.
When you see an obvious a guy who is the underdog, Ali being the underdog, and everyone's
and that's the thing a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, like Ali was very polarizing.
Yeah,
we have a lot of time away from Ali to put him on that pedestal, but at the time he was one of the most loved and hated men in America,
and it was understood that he was on the decline of his career, and people and just previously. Foreman had just killed Joe Frazier. Yeah, and everybody was just like, "This guy's unstoppable.
George
this guy's
Foreman
a monster."
Has one of the most devastating hooks in the history of. I mean, you would see heavy bags after he would hit them, and it would be all like they'd be folded in. And I remember Ali was at the training camp, and George was like, "It's for you," and he goes, "Oh man, heavy bags don't hit back, George."
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Ali got in Foreman's head so much, and I think that really sort of shows how important the sort of motivational, like the psych factor of boxing is. It's more chess than people give it credit for. It's actually why I still prefer boxing over MMA.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say this, can you imagine being Muhammad Ali that night, and then the next, like that morning, he's just running, and people are like chanting Ali Boombayeh behind him? You must feel like you're the new Christ or something.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people, when they think George Foreman, they think, hey, it's lean, mean, fat, reducing
The grill,
machine, happy George Foreman. He was a scary
monster
looking guy.
He was
like,
except for his appearance on Sanford and Son.
of course, yeah, but he was like Brock Lesnar of his time.
He was terrifying. Because, Because here's the thing: you could block his shot, and it's still going to send you flying. And that's.
And he was ripped. He was huge.
He was huge, and his fists were
He was
like
240.
Yeah.
And this wasn't like, Pizza Hut 240. This is like
he was all muscle.
Yeah.
I see oh man, those guys, they're so terrifying.
Did you watch the Buster Douglas Tyson fight live when you were?
I was 8. So I mean, I don't think I did. I mean, but you didn't have to because the highlights were so.
Because I remember watching it with my dad, and my dad, like the minute Tyson came out, my dad was like, "He's losing."
Well, you know what the thing was? Tyson,
he's not wet.
Tyson was such a phenomenon. It was like the instant end of an era, and it's everybody. Well, are we in the Buster Douglas era now? But that never happened.
Buster Douglas folded like a card table. But that's what you got, though, is you got the Buster Douglas, the Evander Holyfield, the Riddick Bowe, and then you had
Michael Moorer.
You had like all the, and you had a genuine like race for the heavyweight title, and that made it interesting.
Tommy the Machine Gun.
Rocky's robot.
AIDS isn't HIV isn't copying it. It's like yeah, it is. It really is.
Let me just run away from 45-year-old George Foreman
coming back. Yeah. Oh, have
yeah.
you ever seen that picture of Morrison hitting Foreman in the halo of sweat?
Yeah. Well, there's like that. There was like the fight between like Foreman and Evander Holyfield.
Yeah.
That was like, because Foreman, people thought that Foreman was a complete joke, and he went in there with Evander Holyfield, and it was like, that was like almost like the closest thing you could get to real life Rocky.
Yeah.
Was, he didn't Foreman didn't win, but that was just like the fact that he went the distance against Evander Holyfield in his prime.
Evander Holyfield I don't think he ever got the respect that he deserved.
I don't think so
even
either.
When he was like the good guy, and people. The good guy's kind of annoying.
Yeah,
I've never liked the fact he got part of his ear bitten off by Mike Tyson.
You didn't like that against him?
No, that was always, I thought, kind of disrespectful.
Shit move.
It's not like it was that great a fight, because if you're going to bite off an ear in a fight, this is going to be a great fight, but it wasn't.
He was like, I don't even need to be a whole man to beat Mike Tyson in this fight. That's what it came down to. I saw that fight live. That was one that I saw.
Yeah, I remember distinctly as a kid, the fights that I saw. I saw a bunch of fights, but the two that I distinctly remember was Tyson versus Douglas and the Fan Man fight.
Oh, jeez. I like.
Do you know the Fan Man fight?
I have never seen a boxing match in my entire life.
Do you remember when
We've seen a couple of Rocky movies. That's kind of like
I take that back. I saw
except nobody blocks. And
I saw the Mayweather Manny Fernandez or whatever.
Okay. All right, we can just stop now.
Yeah, but no. So there was
the Raging Bull.
Do you know that episode of The Simpsons?
Remember the episode of The Simpsons where Homer is like
fighting
invincible?
Dedrick Tatum, the boxing match one?
No.
And then Mo gets on this like parachute fan and breezes him away. There was an actual fight where the Bud Light Fan Man.
It wasn't a Bud Light guy.
Oh no, he was going freelance. He was this guy that would had a parachute and a fan, and he would like fly over sporting events, kind of renegade style. He crashed right in the middle of on the side of the ring, and all of like Riddick Bowe's guys just started beating the crap out of him. And he's got this open fan just blowing, and his entourage is just stomping.
What
his
was he
ass.
on? He was on
He was the Fan Man. That's what they call him.
Yeah, he was like a human airboat in the sky.
He wanted attention. He was not high.
He was like a
wanted
streaker,
attention.
essentially.
Yeah, it was.
What?
Yeah, so he's got this open fan in this crowded like area of spectators, and then Riddick Bowe. This is in the middle of the fight, second round. It interrupts the entire fight.
Oh, it's in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, and he just like gets the crap beat out of him because people are just like, this guy messed it up. Open season.
Yeah. Well, he was also, you didn't know if he was a danger.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why they beat the piss out of him.
Yeah, so Riddick Bowe's fighting Evander Holyfield, and it completely throws off the fight.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine so.
Yeah. Well, no, it switched the momentum of the fight because Bowe was kind of behind.
Yeah. Well, by the way, Riddick Bowe, another guy fell into the annals of history. Very powerful fighter.
Yeah,
that
and he
just
loved
lost
himself
it.
some Fila. He was the Fila guy.
Well, who isn't? Fila's good shit.
A skydiver has just landed here at ringside. He tried to come into the ring. He hit the ring ropes, and there is chaos here at Caesar's Palace in the outdoor stadium.
Oh, they're outdoors. Okay.
Yeah. And time has been called.
And he's tied to this massive machine.
He's like the lawn chair man.
Yeah. And these people are just...
or a parachutist trying to land in the ring in the 7th round of this fight.
Yeah.
This is at nighttime, too.
He crashed into the ropes, and now security is all over him along with the people at ringside. We can't see if anybody was injured by that.
I bet they were.
Yeah, well, it's a 200-pound fan.
He's riding a fan.
He killed a lot of people. There are all these electric lights around, Tim. All this electricity.
Calm down.
You see the
Calm down.
parachute
No, it wasn't Teddy.
itself is hung up on
I love the man in the fez. It's a man in a fez wearing a Howard University sweatshirt.
Of course.
That is a very 1992 story to have happened.
God, that's amazing.
Well, it's a very 1992 outfit.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Was he just
It's like something Dwayne Wayne would wear.
Was he like was he doing like a Rainbow Man kind of thing, like trying to get the word out about Jesus or something?
No, he just wanted the word out about himself.
Yeah.
If
Who
you
was
had
that guy
seen,
that-
he had soy bomb written on his chest. but you
Yeah,
couldn't
he
see
just
it.
wanted to get some like gigs at bar mitzvahs or something.
He wanted
like that.
attention. Who was that guy that burnt down the temple in like Halicarnassus or whatever, one of the ancient wonders of the world, just for attention?
What?
That was the fan man of Antigua.
Yeah.
Yeah, of Antigua.
the fan man of it.
Antigua.
Life could be a dream. Life could be a dream. Shaboom. Life could be a dream. If I could take you up in paradise up above. If you would tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream. Sweetheart, hello, hello again. Shaboom, and open we'll meet again. Boom, ding dong, ding dong, lang, lang, lang.
How long were you a teacher?
9 years and change.
And what
A high school teacher? or what did
middle
you try
school.
to teach
Middle
you?
school. I taught 8th grade history.
Oh, no kidding. In Massachusetts?
Yeah, and then, but I also taught a summer enrichment course for high school kids called History Through Pop Culture.
Oh,
where we
that sounds fun.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was the best 2 to 3 weeks of my life. Was I would just watch. We would just like I had like just scores of DVDs that had points to them with index cards, and I'd let the kids vote on what movie they wanted to watch. And they would pick it, and I'd open it up and be like for example, like Iron Man. So they all picked Iron Man. So I was like, great. So we opened up Iron Man, and then the index card was about economics and marketing. And we talked about like, why is Burger King the burger that he eats when he is freed from Afghanistan or whatever?
Right.
Like, why is it Burger King? Like, let's talk about marketing. Let's talk about branding. Let's talk about all this stuff. Let's talk about war profiteering. I basically, the job was to educate kids to be entertained more intelligently.
Yeah. Wow.
Did you come up with this system?
Yes.
That was a damn good system.
Yeah, we had, and I had a lot of like corrupt friends that had cool jobs. So like, I had a friend that worked for a radio station, and he would just steal movie passes for me, and those were prizes.
Oh,
so
wow,
instead
that's
of
awesome.
tests, I had contests, and those contests, like instead of grades, you could win prizes.
Yeah.
and so
Damn.
like people would sponsor. Like I did a whole thing where they had to like create a superhero that has some sort of historical significance and like what the history would be of that superhero.
Right.
and then the kids would vote on it, and the best one got like a gift certificate to the local comic book store.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It was pretty dope.
What kind of superhero did you have? Like somebody, Enlightenment Man and shit like that.
I had kids that they would be like, I had one that was like a homeless vet, and like how he was treated. I'm like, I think you just have superpowered Rambo. I think that's what,
This is just Rambo extra bad.
Rambo was like a cool superhero with a gun.
You just have Rambo 2 Rambo. You have Rambo 2 Rambo in a Rambo 1 setting. That's
Yeah,
what you
right?
have.
Yeah. Or Rambo 3, he destroys the entire Russian army.
God.
by himself.
He destroys the Burmese army in the Rambo reboot.
We did that in one of the. We talked about Myanmar. We did a whole. We did a whole thing, and we talked about how Stallone of all filmmakers brings current events into his movies more than most.
Oh, I never watched it. Does he talk about like the plight of Aung San Suu Kyi and stuff?
The
like
whole
that?
point of it is how awful everything is in Burma.
Yeah,
and it's just like you're in Thailand, you're fine. Once you go to Burma, you're fucked. And he's like, the whole thing is like he's explaining like this is why you don't go there, and then he has to go back in. And so it shows a lot of like the awful things that are happening there at a time when other movies aren't really addressing it. And it's not going into too much socio-political stuff.
Stallone usually puts a lot of interesting stuff like that in his movies.
Copland.
I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but at the end of Rambo 3, there's a little title that comes up and it says this movie is dedicated to the brave men fighting for the Mujahideen in Afghanistan, which only in hindsight is fucking hilarious.
Oh, those are the good old days, though. I mean, seriously, it's all bullshit. I mean, back then, like you look at like old Dave Barry columns, or you watch the old like talk shows. Afghani freedom fighter was like the stock word for these guys.
Well, we didn't know what Saddam Hussein was going to become. Like we didn't know what
Saddam Hussein.
Well, when we funded, we funded Saddam Hussein back.
Oh yeah,
the Iran-Iraq war.
And like we never know who we're creating. Like we're never like
that's true.
You know, like the U.S. is very short-sighted.
Yeah, and they did a really bad job in those days.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this Pinochet guy.
Fuck you, Casper Weinberger, if you're out there.
You know, this Bin Laden guy. He's not so bad.
Yeah.
We'll prop up Noriega until
this Mabudu Sede Suko guy, pretty great. We need to get rid of this Lumumba guy.
Let's get involved in Africa.
Idi Amin was my favorite there because I think he was the most colorful.
So why was Iron Man eating Burger King?
It was marketing. It was just that was who I know why I would. Yeah, they paid the most. It was like when they had the pizza bidding war, the Domino's versus Pizza Hut for the Ninja Turtles, and when
no one could avoid the Noid.
Yo Noid was one of my favorite NES games.
You know, that was just some crummy Japanese game that they just gave the nerd makeover to.
I'm fine with that.
Because you remember there was the in between.
Super Mario 2 did that too.
Yeah, but that one I liked a lot better. Yeah. The only time I ever beat Yo Noid, we had to use the Game Genie.
Oh, I did all right with Yo Noid. That was a game that I was very good at.
Do you remember in between the rounds there was that weird pizza eating contest? Oh, yeah. And it's like that was the real game or something.
Yeah, I was so good at those pizza eating contests, man. I would win because you'd win, and when you'd win, you'd get like all these power-ups and stuff, and I would rock the shit out of that. Sorry, I don't mean to brag about my Yo Noid skills, ladies. Ladies don't listen to this podcast, do they?
But you can brag about.
They do if I talk.
Whoppers.
About what?
How much you love Whoppers?
Oh my god, I love Whopper. The Whopper is probably my favorite thing. Food. My favorite food stuff is the Burger King Whopper. And the variations of the Whoppers. I think Burger King is underrated. I think it's always been the distant silver medal behind McDonald's of what people look at it. And I'm like, Burger King actually tastes like a burger. Like McDonald's tastes like McDonald's, but Burger King tastes like a burger. It's just great.
Burger King, it was one of those things in the 80s. It's like it almost had parity with McDonald's, but it's fallen really far. It's
sort of like Pepsi a little bit.
Yeah. When Humpty Hump said, I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom, it was considerably less ghetto in those days. It was like Coke and Pepsi back then.
That was actually a privilege.
Yeah.
At that time.
It could have been a really upscale Burger King or something with a nice room and toilet.
He got busy with a Pepsi can. Actually, in a Burger King bathroom.
That sounds like it hurts. Actually,
yeah, I'm a freak. I like the girls with the boom. I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom. I'm crazy. Allow me to amaze thee. They say I'm ugly, but it just don't faze me. I'm still getting in the girls' pants, and I even got my own dance. The Humpty Dance is your chance to do the hump. Come on, do the Humpty Hump. Come on, do the Humpty Hump. Check me out, y'all.
Jeff, where can people find you on the internet, sir?
You should find me on Twitter at Hey There Jeffro, HeyThere, JEFFRO. It's a weird name.
Hey There Jeffro.
My friend's drunk stepdad, whenever we would go over his place, he would always see me and he'd go, hey there Jeffro. And then all of my friends would do that. Every one of my friends did that whenever I walked anywhere. So I just was like, all right, well, this is my name now.
Well, better that than Jew World Order.
Yeah. No, they do that too, though.
You've got a podcast as well.
Well, I'm a regular on the Unpopular Opinion podcast. If you're familiar with Crack.com, it's through there. And if you want to come see me live, I am now officially running a monthly show in Burbank.
Where at?
Blast from the Past, which is a toy store. Which
Oh,
is a,
cool! Very appropriate for
it is.
for you.
It's a very, and we did it last month, and they liked it so much that we're gonna do it from now on.
Oh, that's great.
Good.
And it's on Fridays, going against. It's competing with your show, so we got that going.
Oh,
for
yeah.
us.
What?
With unnecessary.
It's
evil.
fine. We're on
So
we're on two different sides.
If you ever go to Rivers' show, don't. Instead, go to Burbank. There's
Yeah.
a lot more going on there.
Okay.
But you can find me.
Well, this is L.A., so people will just go to the one that's within a
Closest,
2-mile
yeah. I was
distance
gonna
of their
say,
house.
They won't even do that.
they won't even do that.
They will say they're coming, and then they won't show up.
Yeah, I'm in Santa Monica. He's in Burbank. We're on two different sides of town.
I love the.
That's got to be at least, 15 miles or something?
It's a ways.
There's a very frustrating thing about the LA comedy scene when you go anywhere else. Like I've done like Kansas City, where I've never met one person in my life, and we sold an entire bar out. We just sold it out.
Oh, yeah.
Having never met two people, like everybody. And then here we like have tons of people doing a show for free.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh no.
Good night and I did the Yellowhammered show in Birmingham, and we cleared 250 people in the middle of a fucking monsoon.
That's a fact. Out here, it could be sunny out. You get 3 people out there going to have to cancel.
Yeah.
Yellowhammered was my favorite show in LA.
But
it's coming back.
Yeah,
can't
so
wait.
I can actually. This is a perfect time to announce 2 things.
It's moving farther from Burbank.
Yeah, I was
though.
gonna say, yeah. So Yellowhammered, our backyard barbecue show, comedy show. We are officially. We can announce this officially. Are coming to Vidiots, which is at the corner of 3rd and Pico in Santa
yeah,
Monica.
right there, huh?
So we're you can see the beach first of all, which is sweet. It's next to a bowling alley, which is fucking awesome. It's
a good
and
bowling
then
alley.
for. Basically, I was gonna say for the ladies, but really for everybody, well lit and lots of parking. Because with the old Yellowhammer location, people would have to park in the most. It was like the fucking Warriors.
I walked a lot of.
Yeah.
I walked a lot of.
Me
girls to
too.
their
Yeah,
cars,
yeah. Which I don't mind doing at all. But it's nice to be like, no, there's Santa Monica High across the street. You can park there for free for 90 minutes and then $1 for the next.
And for the ladies and everybody, it's closer to Good Night as well.
That's right. It's right off Sepulveda.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
down
and-
Pico a little bit,
And soon it'll be near the train, so you can get as
Yeah, we're going
hammered as you
What,
possibly can.
in 10 years.
Or if you're a lady, you get hammered, you need a place to crash. I live on Sepulveda, ain't too far. This works for everybody.
The Santa Monica station's opening next month.
There it is.
Yeah, so we'll hopefully, I guess by the time March 26th is the day of the show. It's the last Saturday of the month.
I'm excited.
Vidiots is an amazing store, by the way.
It's a video store,
It's a
right?
video
Yeah.
store. It's
like the last one.
this little detail's cool.
Yeah.
Goodnight can vouch for this. Our friend Nick Packus, who is a chef out of Birmingham, is actually coming to LA to cook for the first show.
Is he gonna make that chicken again?
I'm assuming he's doing fried chicken. Like for the Birmingham Yellowhammered, last year we had prime rib, guinea hens, fried chicken.
The smoked guinea hen was ridiculous.
Yeah, so there's no telling. This dude's a maniac. He's a great dude, and he's an amazing chef. So he's going to be there cooking. So we don't even have to cook for
You
the
get
first
the
show.
Good Night guarantee. That was one of the best pieces of chicken I ever had in my life.
Yeah, so...
That farmer's stew that you made was fantastic.
oh, yeah, thanks,
that was my
man.
favorite thing.
Well,
Nobody was eating it because it's
Yeah.
ugly.
It is ugly. It's ugly food. Yeah, well,
Farmer stew, like Brunswick stew.
No, farmer's stew is
like spinach
No,
or
it's collard green. It's mixed greens, collard greens, turnip greens, mustard greens, onions, black-eyed peas, green beans.
Oh, yeah.
And then I stew it together with a shitload of pork and
Yeah, it was so
and
good.
a little bit of vinegar, a little bit
yeah,
of sugar.
sounds great.
Yeah.
So absolutely fantastic.
But yeah, it is ugly.
Now, real quick,
I
will
thought that
there
was called
be
Hoppin' John, but
will there be a peacock? Like-
Hoppin' John has tomatoes.
No
in it.
peacock, I
Yeah.
don't think. The NBC isn't involved this time.
Yeah. We lost our sponsorship with NBC, but it's okay.
yeah, and Jaguar motor cars. Yeah.
So we got that. Also,
That's awesome.
I can announce on April 16th, I'll be back in good old Alabama hosting the 2016 Waverly Boogie.
Yeah.
Once again, hosting the Waverly Biggie.
4 years running.
Soon it's gonna be the Rivers Boogie.
Yeah, so I'll be doing shows down south. I hope to be back for about a week. So I'm aiming to go to Nashville, New Orleans, places like that. So we'll see. I'll have dates and stuff. Follow me on Twitter at Rivers Langley. But yeah, that's our show. Thank you so much, Jeff, for being here.
Thank you.
Got
It
it.
was great. I had a blast.
Yeah,
Now I'm hungry and
I am too. There's a Burger King right down here on Vermont. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/thegoodspod. We're on Twitter at thegoodspod.
Rate,
Rate.
subscribe, review, share.
Share.
Plan, plant, provide, protect, prune. It's like when you get that thing from the government about care for trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lather.
Lather, rinse,
repeat.
Eat, sleep, watch
Suplex.
Sanford and Son, repeat.
Suplex, repeat.
Go to hell. Song of the week this week comes from my friend Rayvon Pettis. Rayvon is a fantastic singer-songwriter based out of Nashville, Tennessee, although I've known him since we were in school together down in Auburn. Dude's just killing it right now. So check out his new record. It's called Insureda. It's out now, iTunes, Bandcamp, all the places that you find music nowadays. And this is the title track. This is Rayvon Pettis, and the song is called Insureda. We'll see you next week.
Desperado, don't you even move by night. Lost and sober in the starlight. Unafraid of crying, I am broken every way. You're only broken like the breaking of the day. Up and rolling through the desert and the haze. Pistols heavy, you're stalwart. You've become your father in the worst of all the ways. He left you to the barbed wire. How you wish to die. And walks the sunlight in Insureda. God forbid you would even know her name. All around you Insureda remains. Academia, how austerely lies your head. How far now from the homeland. Still your loving thing reads Naruto on the bed. They said your name was Layla. You said they might be right. Layla walks beneath the hacienda moon, unaware of malice from the low man. Silver daggers shining, he is empty like a tomb. Grabs her by the neck and as she screams, Desperado draws the gun. I wasn't trying to save anyone. I don't carry pistols out of kindness. Darkening in spirits, shadows take the sun. Haggard, sticky flame, praying out forever. Drives a purple Beetle heading south. Desperado's healing from the knife wounds. In a lilting broken English she says something about a dream. Guatemala in the springtime, May 2012. In walks the sunlight in Insureda. God forbid you might even know her name. All around you Insureda remains.
The Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.